OKC versus Suns series.
OKC versus Suns. I'll tell you. I'll actually show you exactly what I thought about the series. A whole bunch of flopping. I see a 7-foot center, Chet Holmgren's jumping into Dylan Brooks and just throwing the ball in the air. That series right there just shows me why the NBA sometimes, man. That's how betting on the NBA. Sometimes it can be tough. I mean, you look at stuff like that. Sometimes the officials really do control the games. However, I do think OKC was a better team. I still had OKC in 4 either way. I still think they would have won every single game of the series. They are a great team, but man, they got to stop flopping so much, man. Every single time I watch the game, SGA's the free throw line. It is actually insane. But the thing that surprised me the most about the series, to be honest with you, is 2 things. Number one is the depth of OKC. They got guys coming off the bench. They got Mitchell, Wallace. They got Caruso hitting threes, Jared McCain hitting threes. Everyone on their team can shoot. Their offense is so evenly spaced. And then they got Hartenstein down there getting rebounds and everything. Chet Holmgren, great defensively. However, one big loss for them is Jalen Williams, J-Dub. That could be a big loss for them in the next series. I know there's a stat going on online about how they're 81% win percentage without Jalen Williams, but let's be honest, watch the finals last year. Jalen Williams was great in the finals. He's one of the big reasons why they ended up winning the finals last year, so I think that could be a big loss for them. One other thing I would say surprised me on the Suns is Dylan Brooks, man. I used to think he was just a straight defensive player, straight shit talker, but he's got some offense to him too. He's been working on that jump shot. He's becoming an all-around player. What are your thoughts on the series?
My thoughts were that the OKC had it from game one. I honestly thought they had the Suns completely outmatched from start to finish. Don't get me wrong. The Suns, they played well. They played very well, especially with those high spreads. They covered 2 out of the 4 games. I think one of the games were at like 17.5 points, something crazy like that, and they covered. So, honestly, covering 2 out of the 4 games, they played very well, but you could just tell OKC had them outmatched.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we'll move on to the Spurs and the Trailblazers. What do you think about that series?
The Spurs versus Trailblazers, something very, very similar. Honestly, the biggest thing that I could say is Wemby. He is exactly what everyone thought he was going to be. Dropping 31 points in game 1. Showing everyone he's the superstar that everyone thought he was. And once again, from start to finish, I thought it was no doubt that they were going to win that series. Kind of surprised that they took it to game 5. I thought it was going to be a sweep. But I think Portland played very well in a couple of those games as well. But
yeah, I think I was surprised too. I actually originally thought it was going to be a sweep as well. However, they did lose the one game that they lost the game that Wemby got hurt and didn't return in. We got the concussion, I believe. Then they actually ended up winning a game without Wemby, which I think was actually really good for the team. They're one of the youngest teams in the NBA, so it's really nice to see all the young players stepping up. Dylan Harper, he came out. He had a 27-point game, second overall pick last year. So that's great to see their young player, coming out there having a great performance. Stephon Castle played amazing as well. De'Aaron Fox in the last game closed it out in the fourth quarter. He was clutch player of the year, I think, about 2 years ago as well. So they have a closer. They have Wemby, young core, great defensive team. They looked impressive.
Definitely. Heading in the right direction, especially like you said, in a situation like that where Wemby goes down, it could definitely set the whole morale back. And ultimately, that could have took them into a game 6 very, very easily. But they didn't allow it, and they ended up closing out the series.
Yep. And then I think we got one more game to talk about, right?
Yes, one more game. We got the Cavs. The Cavs versus the Raptors. What were your thoughts on that?
Absolutely shocked, absolutely stunned, flabbergasted, all the above that the Raptors were able to take that game to game 7. To be honest with you, I think the Raptors are just a trash team. I think they're one of the worst teams in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I think they were the worst team in the East, in my opinion. So I was very shocked in the Cavs. I'm not very impressed with them. I was pretty high on them going into the series. However, I think they're going to lose to the Pistons. I'm going to give my take early. I think they're going to lose. The
I,
Pistons didn't look good in round one either, but I think they're going to lose, man. I'm not impressed with the Cavaliers whatsoever.
yeah,
But
no,
have Mobley and Jarrett Allen not really be that good defensively, and then Donovan Mitchell, he's one of the best playoff risers of all time. I mean, I think he's top 7 in points per game in the playoffs. He didn't really do much for me in that series. James Harden, he had a good game or two, but he didn't really do much for me either. I don't know. I just wasn't very impressed with them.
yeah. No, I agree, but I would say I'm kind of on the opposite spectrum on this one. I didn't really find it that surprising. I thought the Raptors towards the end of the season started heating up pretty well. Honestly, and then going into the playoffs, I thought they were playing very well overall as a team, and I thought the Cavs weren't playing too great. So taking it to Game 7 wasn't super surprising to me. I definitely had the Cavs winning, but it honestly wasn't as surprising to me compared to other games like the 76ers taking down the Celtics.
Yeah, so where would you rank the Raptors in the East, or all the playoff teams? Would you have the Magic ahead of them and 76ers?
I would have the 76ers above them, but honestly, no, I would not have the Magics above them.
So do you think they could have beat the Pistons if they match up with the Pistons?
I don't. I honestly don't. I think that the Magic matched up really well against the Pistons in the way they played. But I think at the end of the season, the Magic did not look good at all offensively, and then especially with France Wagner not playing those last couple of games, you could just absolutely tell that they had no sort of offense, especially in that Game 6 where they only scored 16 points in the second half.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. So basically, you just ranked them the worst in the East. Now let's move them over to the Western Conference. If they were to play the Suns in a 7-game series, you got them or do you have the Suns?
No, I think I have the Suns as well.
What about the Trailblazers?
The Trailblazers, that's a tight one. Like I said, the Raptors, they were heating up going into the playoffs. I don't think overall that they're a great team. I just think they had a little bit of momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if they could have carried that momentum right, they could have made themselves a little run. But even if they made it to the second round, I think they would have gotten bounced.
Yeah, I think I was just more shocked on that RJ Barrett game winner in Game 6, the way that ball went in. That was very Kawhi Leonard-like, for one. That was very Tyrese Halliburton-like last year. And I was just more shocked at the Cavs, man. I thought they were a lot better team than they are. That definitely changed my opinion on them.
Definitely. And the amount of times the Cavs should have covered and didn't cover was insane throughout that whole series.
Agreed. I never thought it would go 7 games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, what we got next? We're gonna make our picks for the second round, correct?
Yeah, so we can start up with the games that we got going tonight. Let's start with the Spurs versus the Timberwolves.
All right, so are we just doing Game 1 or a whole series? I think we should do a whole series, right?
I think we should do a whole series. But honestly, we could give her a little bit of a take what we think is going to happen tonight as well. Because crazy.
All right, I'll start it out. Timberwolves and Spurs. All right, this one's very hard to decide. I'll tell you this: if Anthony Edwards, I feel like right now I'm gonna say Spurs in 7. Now, if Anthony Edwards were to actually, and this sounds shocking, this might sound shocking here, but if Anthony Edwards were to actually sit Game 1 and maybe even sit Game 2, I would pick the Timberwolves in 7. I just think that that Ant's going to come back and he's not going to be the same. Just because last series he also had an injury. He wasn't really playing like himself. He didn't look as explosive. He was still very shifty, but you could just tell he was kind of lollygagging up the court, limping a little bit. I don't know. I just think that's going to be a huge factor in this game, in this series. So I got the Spurs taking it tonight, and I got the Spurs in 7.
Yeah.
But if Anthony Edwards comes out tonight and he looks healthy, I know we can't switch our picks and everything, but I'm saying this: if he comes out tonight and he looks healthy, I got the Timberwolves.
I honestly,
as of right now, Spurs in 7.
I have the Spurs in 6, just because Ant's not 100% healthy. Now, one thing I can say is tonight's game specifically, with the line opening up at 14.5, I honestly thought that was free, with or without Ant. And then the second Ant was projected to play tonight, how the line dropped straight down to 9. I thought that 14.5 was free because even going back to the Portland series, you've seen Portland being double-digit underdogs a couple times, and they even covered with winning one of those games as well. So I thought 14.5 was just a little high. And honestly, you could tell with the market moving as well. The second ant was ruled to play tonight with how much it dropped.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you got the Spurs tonight as well. You got Spurs in 6, so probably Spurs tonight.
I do have the Spurs tonight just because I don't know how Ant's gonna look. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see the Timberwolves take this series. I just think that the Spurs are just a very well-rounded team altogether. Very similar to how OKC looked last year.
You know what? I'm going back to my take. I got Timberwolves in 7. I'll tell you why right now.
Okay.
Put a little bit more thought into it. Timberwolves in 7. Spurs still win tonight. Timberwolves in 7. Then I'll tell you exactly why. Rudy Gobert. He's coming out with vengeance. Victor Wembanyama, first unanimous defensive player of the year. And Gobert won it 4 times. Gobert's pissed off that he wasn't even on a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. He just locked up Jokic last round. Why'd he lock him up? Because he's strong. Rudy Gobert is built. Now, Wemby's a little bit on the skinnier side. If he could force Wemby to shoot, maybe get in his head a little bit, not get him those easy dunks, those easy alley-oops, I think he can make it tough for him. I'm switching my pick. Timberwolves in 7.
I could definitely see that happening, but I'm going to stay with my pick.
All
Spurs in 6. All right, so let's move to the other matchup that we got tonight. We got 76ers versus the brain fart here.
76ers and the Knicks.
76ers versus the Knicks. What are your thoughts on that?
What are my thoughts on that? To be honest with you, I got 76ers in 7. I got the 76ers winning tonight as well. I would actually have the 76ers in probably 6 games. I think they're a better team than the Knicks. I just can't trust Joel Embiid to play all 7 games in the series just based off what he's shown us the last few years. So that's why I'm just extending it to 7. I think they got an all-around better team than the Knicks. Joel Embiid is just by far the best player on the court. You got Paul George, you got BJ Edcombe. Kelly Oubre is a great role player. You got Paul George. You got Tyrese Maxey. He's a great point guard. I think Tyrese Maxey matches up very well with Jalen Brunson. I think they're just going to pick on him defensively and kind of just play him and Cat in the pick and roll with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. And I think it's going to be a rough series for the Knicks.
Definitely. I honestly have the 76ers in 6. I think they can take a game even without Maxey. Or not Maxey. Jeez. Yeah, I think they can take a series down even without him. I think with him, this is a no-brainer. I think they could take it down in 6. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Knicks are a very, very, very good team. But like you said, I just think they match up very, very well.
I think Joel Embiid is playing very confident too. For him to come into Game 7 wearing the wired headphones, trying to recreate the LeBron 3-1 meme, that takes a lot of confidence coming into Boston as well. I think they got all the momentum. I just think they have a more talented roster.
Definitely. And I think the momentum's a huge thing. Being down 3-1 to the Celtics, a phenomenal team. Being down 3-1 to keep yourself composed, to ultimately win 3 straight games and move it on to the next round. I think that takes a lot, and I think that momentum will carry them through this series.
So who do you got tonight?
I see the 76ers covering. I thought the 8.5 was also pretty high as well.
What about the win though? Who's winning tonight?
I think it can be sneaky. I think the 76ers could take it down, but I'm always hesitant about first games when it comes to a series, especially when a team's at home. So that's why I have the 76ers covering. I don't know about them taking this game down tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I don't know if I see them taking it down tonight.
I think they do. Just the momentum, man. Joel Embiid had a great game. He was having a legendary performance, to be honest with you, until he hurt his knee and then started kind of hobbling around. He stopped shooting as much, stopped being as aggressive. But, they say he's healthy. I'm going to trust it. They got the momentum. I got him tonight.
Definitely.
All right, so let's move on to tomorrow's games. You got the Pistons and Cavs as the first game tomorrow. What you got for that? I already spoiled my take with that in the last segment. Who you got?
Hold on just 1 second.
Got you.
The stream's about to end. We got to start another one.
Oh, that's cool. Fuck, dude. Wait. Can they? Are we still live or no?
Yeah, we're still live. It's about to end though. Oh, no, it didn't end. All right, I'm just gonna end this one so we can start the next one.
Yeah,
Just so we don't get cut off mid take.
No, I